Hey guys, I'm finally getting around to doing a yoga related video. This can go towards any sort of niche activity. I'm just picking yoga because it's very popular and a lot of people buy into it. Now just from the outset, I'm not saying yoga is bad, just don't take this as a bash on yoga. I had some notes, I'm just going to spit out some random points and chop and edit, and I may do a part 2 and part 3 to yoga. But I have been getting some people query the stretching video that I did when I said that just like traditional martial arts like karate and taekwondo and things like that, that came with a certain mystique about them, you know, back in the day, they're now being replaced by more useful fighting styles like just mixed martial arts, which are just a lot more useful. It's breaking down the dogma and the mystique of, you know, these traditional martial arts, which really don't do that much. There was just a lot surrounding. They kind of have like a mist surrounding them if you've seen my mist videos. So to tie it into yoga now, first of all, do I like yoga? Yes, I actually do different forms of yoga. I do Kundalini yoga, and I'm currently learning how to do Noli Kriya, which is how to, I guess, have really good control over your abdominals, internal massage, visceral massage, things like that. I actually get private lessons in yoga, so I'm not against yoga. I'm just against specific types of it, and all I'm doing here is I'm just going to give you guys a few questions to weigh up in your mind that you may not have thought of yet. Now, first of all, as I alluded to in the stretching video, yoga to me is a well-marketed niche. I'm not saying yoga's not good, I'm just saying it's a well-marketed niche. So what happens is, again, as I've mentioned before, you know, I guess some people, you get women that, mainly women, that look really good. They have great bodies, great posture, they just hold themselves really well, they've got a really good demeanour about them, a good energy, and they find themselves related, or they find themselves attracted to yoga in some way. Then people look at them, and because, you know, the way we're conditioned and we're brought up, you know, you think then, oh, yoga is responsible for that. It's not. Those people are going to look like that no matter what. So just don't be confused with looking at certain people that you think look good and then thinking yoga does the same. Now, going a little deeper to the physical, if you just go and randomly stretch the same, see, yoga is a part of the principles of yoga. I'm not pretending to be a yoga expert at all, but part of the principle is that you stretch one side, you stretch the other. What you do on one side, you do on the other to balance the body. Now, as I mentioned before, not only in just normal people, but I've had clients that are yoga instructors and their bodies are not really in balance. In fact, quite badly out of balance. What happens is that we all have certain quirks in our bodies, and until you iron out these quirks, which means loosening off muscles that are short and tight, strengthening muscles that are short and weak, and they generally run on spiral slings, front and back slings, they run on viscera, and they run on fascia, not just muscles. So it can take a little while to correct these imbalances, and most of us have them, especially if you've played sports that are one side dominant, or just any number of things. Most of us didn't develop that well as infants, okay? So unless you're a perfect physical specimen, a lot of the time just going to a yoga class is not the best thing to do. Again, yoga is not meant to be done in classes. I'm sure they do them as a communal thing where they come from, you know, such as in India, but they're not meant to be a class. You're not meant to pay $15 to do a yoga class. You're not meant to sign up for this and that. I'm going to get into this a little deeper later in the video. But look, you're just not meant to go and do a set series of asanas and poses, and that's meant to work for everybody. You're just going to put your body out of balance even more, and unless you have already a certain degree of body awareness, core strength, things like that, you actually leave yourself open to injuries and things like that. So again, I'm not saying yoga is bad, I'm just saying the way a lot of us do it in the Western world, it's not quite you're getting like a watered down version, but it's well marketed, people need to make money and people are becoming yoga instructors. Same as personal training, this is going to, I think, down the track before it fades away, you know, you're going to have all these people that are yoga instructors, do your 2-week yoga certification, you're a certified yoga instructor, you know, don't worry about doing it religiously for 10 years, just do a 2-week course and get a certificate and you can be a yoga instructor too. Now, so taking yogic principles. Now, I'm just going to relate this to traditional Chinese medicine and Aryuveda. If you're not familiar with those, traditional Chinese medicine includes herbs, acupuncture, qigong, just a lot of different things that come from China. That it's ancient, 5,000 years old. Actually, I think Chinese medicine is the oldest form of medicine in the world. It's either that or Aryuveda. Doesn't really matter. Aryuveda comes from India, and it's again, it's a holistic approach to your health. Now, the reason that I don't agree with people doing Ayurvedic courses to be practitioners and traditional Chinese medicine courses in Australia is that those things, Ayurveda works great for Indians living in India. Traditional Chinese medicine works excellently for Chinese people living in China. Not quite so for people that are white people like us, living in a land that we've only been on for maybe a couple of hundred years, if that, our family lines. It's just not the same thing, but people like to market things, people like to make money. And the way I'll, I guess, help to explain this, right, is that, I mean, in Australia, for example, and in America, we don't have our own culture so much. I mean, in Australia, you could say that our culture is drinking way too much alcohol and throwing huge slabs of meat on a barbecue. But it's just, like we don't, the reason we yearn for culture in these countries, in our country, and it's because we don't really have a culture of our own. And the reason for that is that we were settled, and same as America, was settled by white Europeans who butchered the natives, and then, so it's like we're not going to take the natives. I mean, if Americans took Native American philosophies and health practices, they'd probably be a lot healthier. Same as us, if we adopted Aboriginal Australian, spiritual and health practices, it'd probably be a lot healthier than we are. But we like to look for the what's exotic and what's else, so we look elsewhere. And it's the same reason that I say to people, people come and practice yoga and then they adopt a yogic lifestyle, and then they're like, they become a vegetarian and this, that, and the other. And look, I don't agree with vegetarian in any form, really, until you get to a certain stage of life. I mentioned that if you watch my raw vegan and response to Freely, the Banana Girl video. I explained that there is a certain time and place where vegetarianism is certainly a healthy practice, but it's beyond your developmental stages. It's when nature tells you, not when you go, I'm going to be a yogi now, so now I'm going to be a vegetarian. Or I'm deciding that it's wrong to eat animals, so I'm going to be it's dogma and it's beliefs. So try to stay away from that, as I allude to in other videos. Point of that is that, look, if you're an Indian growing up in India, and for generations upon generations, for thousands and thousands of years, you've adopted a more vegetarian lifestyle, your body is going to be able to handle that kind of vegetarian lifestyle, okay? If you're a white person like me that grew up and your family lineage comes from a lot of animal fats and proteins, that's how we develop, you can't just decide that in your generation you're going to become a vegetarian and be perfectly healthier. I've met so many girls that are into yoga, girls more so than guys, because guys don't adopt so much a lot of these beliefs, but they become iron deficient, they come with a whole host of health problems because they're just buying into the mist of yoga, and then they're ignoring the greater reality that exists beyond that. So beyond just the basic practices, which again they relate more to indigenous or endemic situations, not so much us in Australia or America or England or something, wherever you are, Europe. So the way that I would say this, right, is that the way I would reverse market this, okay, is that I'd come up with this ancient Aboriginal Australian practice, and then I'd go around to Eastern countries and I'd go learn the ways, the mystic ways of the Aboriginal Australian, and I'd show them all these stretches and these things and a few chants and whatever, and some maybe play a didgeridoo, and then I could sell classes by the bucket load. I bet you I'd be a millionaire within a year if I did that. I'm not going to do it because it's ridiculous. And you just got to understand that that's basically the same as bringing traditional arts and things from other countries. I'm not saying that they don't have their individual good points, which is why, as I said at the start of the video, I do certain types of yoga, mainly the breathing, but they have good points, just don't buy into the whole thing, if you get what I mean. So that should wrap up part one. I'm sure there'll be additional videos that I will make, maybe highlighting some more specifics on what to look out for if you're going to take up yoga. But again, look, if you enjoy doing yoga, just have an awareness about it. Either fix your body up and then go to classes, get private lessons, make sure your yoga instructor is, I don't know, able to do that. I mean, most of them, look, just, again, I'm not putting people down, it's just good to be aware of these things. So most yoga instructors, there are some excellent ones, and I say this because I know them, and I know that they can assess for imbalances in the body, and I know that they know how to correct them. But they're few and far between. A lot of them charge, I know some that on the coast that charge $250 per hour plus. You're not getting much value out of it, and they don't know how to assess for these things. They just know how to show you how to do certain postures and whatever. It's just not, you know what I mean? Yoga is deeper than that. And here's why I don't agree with it. It's running classes as like hey, it's a class activity. It's because yoga is an internal, like Qigong, Tai Chi, things like that, they're internal. It's an internal journey. It's not a journey to see how flexible you can get and how you can, I'll segue for a second here. Yoga competitions, these are apparently getting more, I mean, you're bastardizing an ancient spiritual practice, and then you're sitting around judging people on how good they are at doing yoga. It's like, what's going on with that? I mean, if you want to see grace, right? If you want to see someone do something graceful, watch dancing. If you want to see someone demonstrate body control and strength, watch gymnastics. These are sports. Don't watch yoga competitions. It's ridiculous. I know I'm ranting a bit about that, but it's just showing you how we've taken an ancient spiritual practice from another country, brought it into our Western culture, and marketed it and have it proliferated and watered it down and turned it into something that it's not. And people, the mist, as I mentioned, the marketing, the beliefs, the dogma, it surrounds them and they're consumed by it. They can't see the reality outside of it, and so they're just going down this road. And it's just not helping you that much. And that's all I'm trying to do is bring to your attention, can't even talk today, bring to your attention the fact that a lot of these things that we're doing aren't really helping us, and we've just got to break out of these cycles and start to look at what's good. As Bruce Lee used to say, take what works, use it, discard the rest. There's some great things in yoga, as I keep saying. There's just a lot of it is bullshit. It just really is. So I'm going to leave you with that. Oh no, what was my point before? Hang on. Yeah, that's it, remembered. So yoga is an internal, it's more of a one-on-one, it's more of an individual practice, okay? It's not about, again, I'm not a yoga expert, but a lot of even the stretches and things, they're designed to bring an internal recognition or awareness of your own energies. It's not meant to improve your flexibility as such. You're not just stretching it. It's meant to be an expression of the spirit. It's meant to be an expression of the human body, the spirit, the soul, movement, enjoying movement practice. But the same reason I don't agree with a lot of regimented systems in anything is that it's like, oh no, you're doing it wrong, do this better, or whatever. It's like, it's stifling that creativity. It's not allowing you to flow. It's not allowing you to express fully. It's trying to put you into this narrow thing, as I keep saying, the way a lot of people live life in a lot of different ways, a variety of ways, is it's narrowing you down to a certain track, and you're missing the much greater reality because you're confined by your beliefs and your judgments of right and wrong and this, that and the other. So it's meant to be more of an individual spiritual practice. It's not meant to be done in class where everybody does the same thing at the same time. I do like group meditations, obviously not in place of your personal meditation, but if you can sync breathing and awareness amongst a group of people, that's actually quite powerful. But stretching as a group and doing some asanas and whatever isn't that powerful. So I'll leave you with that. Stay tuned for part 2 and probably 3 because there's a lot. It is a deep topic and it does relate to a lot of other niche activities, as I mentioned in the stretching video. So I'll leave you with that today. I hope you enjoyed it. Any questions, please email me and I'll see you on the next video.